In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the graph editor in After Effects to get a lot more control over your animation. And we're going to start with a really simple animation here. Let me preview that. And you can see we only have these three linear keyframes. So the first thing I want to do is select them, right click, Keyframe Assistant Easy Ease. And now we have some easing between the keyframes. And then we're going to access the graph editor by clicking this button. We don't see anything right now because we have to select our attribute. So the graph editor is a way to visualize and customize the transition between your keyframes. So right now we see our three keyframes here, and we're seeing the speed between them. So the object is accelerating, reaching top speed, and then decelerating again until it stops, and then again here. So if I play this, you can see this is what's happening. And then we can customize this speed by clicking one of the keyframes here, and then dragging one of these handles left or right, and then we're change the influence of this keyframe over the animation. So we're smoothing this deceleration here. So you can see we are changing how the easing is happening on this position. So we can do this here too. So you can see how we can easily customize this transition with the speed graph here. And After Effects actually has two modes of visualization. This is called the speed graph, and we have another one called the value graph. So we can click here on the options, select Edit Value Graph, and you'll see how our graph changed, but it's exactly the same animation still. And in order to use the value graph, we actually have to right-click the position and select Separate Dimensions. And you'll see now that we have X and Y positions separately here in the attributes, and we can select them separately. So because we don't have any vertical animation in this object, the Y position is just this flat line, is not really doing anything, so we can turn it off. If we go back to the X position, you can see that actually when we separated the dimensions here, After Effects messed up the animation that we had in this object, so we have to apply some easing again if we want. And here in the value graph, we can do the same thing we did in the speed graph. So we can, customize this transition between the keyframes. So we can make this transition smoother and this more abrupt. And we can even do this. We can really speed up here at the start and then smooth out at the end. Or do the opposite. Smooth out our release and then make it really abrupt at the end. And here in the value graph, we can even do things like overshoot. So we can right-click here, keyframe interpolation, continuous Bezier, okay. And then if I do this, you see that the object is going to overshoot the position that we actually have in the keyframe. So we're going a little bit further like this, and I'll play, and you'll see we get this kind of elastic effect in the object. So this is how you use the graph editor in After Effects to create different transitions between keyframes in your animation.